Is this true that you were born 9 months after Sunderland won the cup?
Who told you that? Yes, my dad was the football correspondent for the Northern Echo, and he used to cover all the Sunderland games. And they got to the cup final against Preston. They won it 3-1. And I don't know what my mum and dad did that night, but I was born 9 months later.
Just tell us a little bit how you got started into journalism and what got you involved.
Well, I was born in the North East, and I used to play football on the beach at South Shields, day in, day out. I just wanted to be a professional footballer. And to cut a long story short, my dad went off to the war. He came back. And then he got a job on the Cumberland Evening News and then on the Leicester Mercury. So we moved down to Leicester, and while we were there, my passion for wanting to be a professional footballer was exactly the same. And fortunately, I'm not quite sure how it happened, but Nottingham Forest spotted me. I played for Leicester schoolboys, so maybe it's something to do with that. And I went over for a trial, which I thought was going to be a game, on the City Ground. And every time I go back to the City Ground now, I think of that day where the coaching staff came out and put me through all sorts of different exercises, and I was absolutely tired out at the end of the day. But Billy Walker was the manager, and he came to me after and he said, "Well, from what I've seen, you've done all right. We'll let you know by the end of the week whether we think you've got a future or not." I eventually got a letter, and there's a form here somewhere, which shows that that's the form I filled in for the Football Association. And in those days, you were all either professional or an amateur, so that was the amateur form. Douglas Ian Johnson, Nottingham Forest, 1954, April the 27th. And then I eventually had to do national service, so I only got 3 years with them. And then I had to do national service. Before I did national service, I left school, but I got about 6 months between that and going into the army, the intelligence corps, which most people laugh at, but there you go. And my dad said, "Well, you know, if you got nothing else to do, come and work for the Leicester Mercury. Get your job then," because you could do that in those days. And I did. I worked as a cub reporter for 3 or 4 months, and then I went off to do national service. I did that. I played for the Army. I played for the Intelligence Corps. I played for Eastbourne United. So I still managed to keep up a fairly high standard of football. So when I finished it all, I had to make a choice of going back to professional football plans or to go back into newspapers, because the rule was that whoever employed you before you went to do national service were entitled to take you back. I chose journalism. Reasons why, not bothered, you know. By that time I was 20 and time getting on. So I chose journalism, joined my dad, joined the Leicester Mercury. I moved from the Leicester Mercury down to Fleet Street. I had a job down there on the Sporting Record. It was a magazine that did football and racing. I got fed up with that because it was a very, very easy life, and I wanted something a bit more busy and hectic. While I was there, I worked for the People on a Saturday, and then my dad told me there was a job going on the Birmingham Mail. Applied to that and got it, and the rest is pretty much history. Once I got to the Birmingham Mail, I worked on the sports desk, did a good job there. Moved up the ladder. There was about 12 sub-editors altogether. I got to number 3. And then the job came up for the deputy editor of the Sports Argus, which I took. And Mike Beale was the editor, and I knew he'd been interviewed by the Daily Express to get a job there. So I knew he wouldn't be hanging around very long, and that would be very soon. I'd be hopefully become the editor, and that's what happened. So, and I think I can't remember the exact date, strangely, for something so important. But I think I took over after the World Cup. We covered the World Cup, and there's a front page. No, that's not the one. Is that the one? That's the one. That was the Argus for the front page, and we wrote part of it in German and in Spanish, because of Argentina were the guests there as well.
Yeah. So you were a reporter at that stage, were you?
I was the deputy editor. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But and we actually put some of it in German and some of it in Spanish for the visitors who might want to read the Sports Argus. So I then took it over officially, and I took one look at it. I mean, it's a big broadsheet. It came down in size later on, but it was very old-fashioned. It was got a circulation of just over 200,000, which was way, way, way above anybody else in the country, even Liverpool and London. Newcastle, those were the Sheffield. They were the places that got quality Saturday night sports papers. But the Sports Argus was just amazing, and I was the editor until 1982, where I moved back to the Birmingham Mail to become the sports editor. And in that time, the circulation maintained that level of around the 200,000. If Villa, Blues and Albion all won, we got about 210, 215,000. But if they didn't win, it dropped down and it just became just under 200. And it was our ambition to keep it above 200,000. I mean, I was out 3 or 4 nights a week doing functions, football matches, boxing shows, cricket, anything, forums, charity shows, all that sort of thing. I just wanted to make sure that the Argus was kept in everybody's mind. It was a community newspaper, and I wanted to be that, not just a sports paper, you know.